Hello, thank you for watching today's diary. I want to talk about justice. Um, some people might say, oh, justice is relative. There are no true justice. I think you got to think about it like this, okay? Um, is there food, food, food's deliciousness? Is it relative or is it objective? Okay, so food that tastes disgusting can be can be pretty objective, right? But what food that tastes good could be relative. So what is that all about? Another thing, language. Can you speak with your own language? um I mean your individual language? Can you understand each other with by making your own language? No, right? You gotta speak the language that people would understand. So in the same logic or in the same fate, because it's there's still some abstraction here. We gotta say that justice is like that as well. Just because it is hard to pinpoint and for everyone is different, it doesn't mean that there is no deliciousness, that there are no um, common standard that can be derived from justice. So should you obey the law? I think maybe the law is better than you in terms of deriving to these standards, because these standards are made by our predecessors and gone through the process of evolution. A lot of these things could be absurd, but you gotta have the perspective of the law, because the law, even though they are man-made, there are a lot of them. I mean, by a lot of them, is derived from real problems that human beings are faced. So the mass, guys, the mass of do not steal is something that came from thousands and thousands of years. The mass of I own this and you own that is huge. And you want to say, oh, it's common sense, um, and common sense is enough, then you should be able to say that there is true justice. Okay, but we all know that is that is pretty complicated. But that's my position. True justice actually exists. And the next question would be, um, reparations in terms of colonialism. Is it a is it a fair thing to do? It's does it relate to true justice? And if true justice exists, that means we could correct things in this world and the whole world will be better, because this true justice is like physics, right? It applies everywhere. So a correction or adjustment for the sake of true justice should make the world a better place, universally speaking. So one step of doing this is reparation. So this is the question here. So I think such things, the way it is interpreted now, the way that it is popular now, is so politicized. So it has political intention that is dishonest. That's what I think. Because factors that you gotta consider is, of course, first things first, the people are different. The people who are responsible are different. Would you want your grandsons to bear your own sin? Hmm? And that is also a form of injustice. So if you amend injustice with another injustice, that is not just. That's just the way justice works. That is what's miraculous about justice, is that injustice plus injustice doesn't make it just, but just could only be made with justice. So violence, is it just? it could be in order to save someone's life, okay, to save innocent life. So violence, this doesn't mean injustice. So if you want to mend justice with violence, it's case per case, even though violence sounds really unjust, but um, case per case it could be just. But the law here, okay, in this context, is that you cannot use injustice to mend justice, right? So let's establish this first. And then we'll dwell into the issue of reparation. Are you already considering uh, the sin of your descendants? Like the sin that, is it just to have uh, generational sin? If you look at the Bible, that's what human being suffers, a generational sin. And it is it just or is it unjust? And then um, the potential to do further sin in the future, is it really just? For example, if you knew this baby is going to be the next Hitler for real, this baby is freaking dangerous, is it just to kill the baby right now? So it is kind of an issue that you gotta address. You shouldn't politicize this, um, because when I say politicization, I would it would relate it to how people make money, right? Because it's easy to cater to the sentiment of the public, and the public usually people who don't have money, and a lot of money, and a lot of these people are fueled by jealousy, so they embrace jealousy. And if you use this jealousy, which is something that is immature, something that needs to be mended, something that is unjust, and you amplify it instead of disciplining it, that's what you got. That's what makes evil politician, and that's what you got. So it's not about bringing justice into this world. It's about obtaining power using uh, using whatever way, Machiavellian maybe. So it's really dishonest, to put people in the spotlight while you yourself is the one that is supposed to be being put in a spotlight. So to have this conversation, okay, that the fact that we are asking this question really maybe is actually a mistake. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about this. Maybe we should talk about corruption. Maybe we should talk about deception during politics. Maybe we should talk about lies instead of talking about this, because this problem is what causes this problem. What causes this problem is like liars in your community want to secure resources and property. That's what is causing this problem. And sometimes catering to what do you call it, deception, could be aligned with your interest, but at the end of the day, you should mend it, you should correct it by pointing it out, otherwise you would keep on you otherwise it is something that is going to be a habit, and it is like people get away with this. The best thing to do is to not let people get away with this. You might want to play along because maybe it's not going to hurt you, but you should be really careful about that. But the first thing you got to do is actually, why are you putting me in this position? It is not fair. And then talking about the Bible now. I'm a Christian, so the attack against Christian obviously would be the generational sin. Now, the generational sin is I think I'm going to get back into the reparation issue and talk about what would be such uncalled for situation that people have been put in because of that. But Maybe, but let's focus on the Bible first. If you want to, if you want me to talk about it, or if you want to talk about it and let me know about it, there's a comment section. And then, why is it that, if you watch my previous video, the world that is so perfect, but because of uh, a really serious mistake that is invented by the Satan or the devil, we have to endure this generational attack? Is it a just or unjust thing? The fact that God made the world difficult to live in, so that people would work hard and then women would suffer in labor, uh, why is it just? And I think it has it has something to do with the potential to purposefully commit evil, and also the scale of the greatness of the creation, the perfection. Have you ever reached nirvana or something, or getting high on psychedelics, listening to the people who have described the experience? Imagine a reality that is actually like that. So we in our brain, it seems to me that we have a vestigial organ that was made for that is like that is made for that reality, which is something that we kept on trying to reach. We kept on trying to find a perfection. We kept on trying to have the best of our lives. Or you want to say, oh, it's from our childhood, but I think uh it is something, it was described. And I also could, I never used psychedelics, but I also could attest to that. I have this aspiration of something that is, I just could think about things that are ideal, and how it would how things would make me feel good, how things would be safe, how things would be, you know heaven, our conceptual of heaven. And it is relatable, thank God. And it is a good thing that it is relatable. So this heaven that is in our brain, probably something that we all could gather, pick up pieces from, and to create this garden, or render this perfect garden that is so perfect. It is heaven. So everything we do, we just use that heaven side of our brain, and it would work out. And I think I should be able to relate to you with that. If I couldn't relate to you with that, then maybe the next conversation would be unintelligible. Okay, continuing on. Since this heaven is so good, this mistake right here is so bad, because of the the highness of this becomes so low. Even though for our standard now, it's just every other day, bad things, bad, like unpleasant things happen. But imagine a world where everything works out, everything is an innovation, every single day the price goes down, every single day you can buy new stuff, every single day you can there's a new invention and you can buy it, and you become the inventor, the next new inventor. And then everyone would like it, everyone would buy it, and they would also make new invention from that. And you would be given like some royalties from that in form of goods and services and money. And something like that. And it is all done out of your own intuition. There's no discipline. It's just you are being accepted into heaven. It's just all your instinct, it's all your heaven that is in your mind. And it's just fluid like that, quick like that, instant like that. And you know imagine a world that is like that, and then suddenly it came crashing down, that it doesn't work out like that. It's like normal, it's like everyday life. So right now, so it's um that that is that is the answer, right, to the question of punishment, right? That is why is it that it had become um, why is it that it is fair that um, maybe I have lost my thoughts a little bit, but my- but okay, let's move. Let's continuing on to the initial question. Okay, what's with the generational sin, right? Generational sin. Why is it good? Why is it a just thing? Well, since your mistake, like you're supposed to move your finger to the right, but you move your finger to the left, which means that the butterfly effect of the air could potentially cause typhoon in the next 100 years. So now a perfect world like that now is liable to typhoon in the next 100 years, right? So people would be already building a lot of houses, already have a lot of plants being farmed, and then a lot of heaven, and suddenly hell like that, so far down, and it's so depressing, and our children doesn't deserve that, right? So could it be that the constant everyday torture, in constant everyday testing and challenges is actually going to make is actually going to save us from that? And arguably speaking, if we are accustomed to such imperfection, we would be stronger in a in a world of imperfect in an imperfect world. And then through our strength, we could create technologies that we could get accustomed to, so that we don't have to focus on the unpleasantness anymore, even though it is constantly happening. We could focus on mending things permanently. So I think it is a long step that we have been missing when we read the Bible. Um, it's from our disbelief that God is good. So you got to think here that God is good. Um, he did all of these horrible things. Why is it good? That is the question that you got to ask. Instead of saying, oh, God is evil, God is not good, think about it first. Give like the benefit of the doubt or presumption of innocence, which we should give to everyone else as well. Like, why is it God good in doing this? In another instance, it's like the Tower of Babel, right? Why did God scramble the language of the people who just want to make great things? So so this scrambling of the language obviously came from different disciplines. Oh, not obviously, it like in a case, I believe it came from different disciplines. Some carpenters use different measurement system. Some stonemason would use similar measurement system. They ended up convoluting it with each other, and it keeps on happening for different types of discipline while working, while we also have forced labor, injustice in terms of some people's agenda is to finish this as quickly as possible. Some people think this part is secondary, the other part is primary. Therefore, there's a conflict over there, and there's tribalism. It had become like gang. Some people band together to go against this group of people. Not maybe not in terms of violence, but in terms of disputes and debates, right? And this group of people would develop their own terms. This group of people would develop their own terms, and the secondary or tertiary friends of these people who are also friends with that people might confuse their terms because they're pretty similar, and then they use it in another place, and apparently this place doesn't recognize that and they didn't expect it. Every once in a while it slip one or there slip some of that. But the goodness comes from the creation of a term, like when we create a formula, when we create what do you call it, like symbols like pi, rho, we lambda, delta. It is good because it makes us able to do more, right? So that is godly, that is God there, and God took responsibility from that some destructive things could emerge out of that. So give God the benefit of the doubt, and then mm, we could also derive how disgusted is God is, how disgusted God is with Satan. Because as a responsible person, like if you have a company and there are people who are troublemaker in your company, and you ended up having to take responsibility for the troubles that they made, you are so disgusted with these people, but you cannot fire them because of the severance payment would harm everyone else. Would harm the prospect of everyone else getting bonuses and stuff. So um so so one aspect of generational sin maybe is like that. Another thing would be um yeah, people have the potential to be purposefully evil, therefore killing them, because God killed people, right? They God like allow people to die, and that could be considered as good because imagine someone who, like Cain, if you know the story of Cain and Abel, if Cain lives forever, that's the solution that is associated with his person, and he didn't want to repent. He didn't. If he kept on doing that all the time, then he will become accustomed to it, and he will become a mass murderer for hundreds and hundreds of years, for thousands of years. He would become a menace that is so massive, that is so compact, that maybe there's a chance in the future, if he died like in 90 years old maybe, or 300 years old like the people of the Bible, maybe there's a chance in the future where mathematically speaking you could use the something like a Laplace demon to render people of the past back to life in the computer using math and logic and history, because history doesn't go anywhere, right? Like detective work, you can find out what's happening in the past, and it would be constant, like history is fixed. So you could find Cain maybe, and maybe in the future he could do good things, but those chances would be lost if he kept on living at that time, with that kind of world that is full of problem. But also we want life, right? To be taken from chaos, to save people's lives from chaos. So having people in this world is still good, but because the chances of injustice, maybe it is a good thing that people doesn't live forever. Maybe that is, for some other people, maybe they are depressed all the time. They kept on losing asset, they kept on in this cycle of losing asset, and this loss of assets really took a toll in your mind. And maybe it is a mercy for you to escape, let's say. Maybe uh, maybe for some people that is in a very very dire situation. That is something that is so understandable. But but guys, don't kill yourself, because I personally speaking from experience, I kept on going and I like it. I ended up not thinking about that in a favorable manner anymore. I want to keep on living. I want to keep on experiencing. I want to keep on loving. Jesus saves me. And I think if you wait, it's worth it. But still, um, you know, um, like when you are in that state of depression, it could it could be enticing, to try various things that is dangerous um, because it doesn't matter. A lot of things doesn't matter in that situation, and you could be a danger to other people, right? Um, And is it actually just for the world to punish human beings like that? Is it actually just that the generational sin is like that? In a sense that there are difficulty in this world, there are diseases in this world, that there are death in this world. Is it actually a helpful thing um, that generational sin exists? Now, now, because of our sense of justice, now it is quite obvious that things like that uh you know might be might be something that is you know that doesn't make Christianity look that bad, you know and back to the question of reparation. So should the colonialist descendants give reparation to the next generation of the victim of the colonialism? Because generational sin, you know is something that Christianity, at least in Christianity, could be good if it being applied to evil people. And I think where it came from is different, because when it comes to God, God sees through destiny. So God's judgment is not. That's why we allude to God, because it is not us to judge the fate of other people. So God is the one who judge whether this person could be ultimately evil or not, or something like that. The fate of the person. So if you want to do something like that, as if you are God, to judge other people, that, oh, reparation is something that is to be performed because these new descendants of this new generation of ex-colonialists would have the potential to become a colonialist again in the future. Therefore, the punishment made is something that's going to put everybody safer. And I think that is not something for us to say, because not only that, I think there's no evidence for that, but also there is no, what do you call it? It is not for us. It's something that we go to court for, and even the court itself wouldn't deal with that. You know what I mean? So, in terms of Christianity, that's the difference. Okay, about generational sin in terms of Christianity, and in terms of something that we as a human being implement on other people. That's the difference right there. That is not just. Okay, let's not use the example of generational sin from Genesis for reparation of colonialism. But again, in another point of view, let's now I'm talking about reparation. Okay, I got a cold, so my voice, there are mucus here. So from another point of view, you might want to ask, oh, like these people are experiencing prosperity through injustice. Therefore, mending it would make the world a better place. Now, now this is a question. So, mending it for the people who are poorer, that is the cause of injustice. Now we come to the question of why people are prosperous and why people are poor. And is it something that is just to penalize people for their ingenuity? So is it from ingenuity, or is it from robbery? Okay, let's say my grandfather robs your grandfather, and then now I become rich, and then you become not as rich. You may be as rich as me, but you could have been more rich. And then if you got the capital from your grandfather, now in that case, given there is a clear property and there's clear history, the court might be able to take some of the inheritance that was robbed, maybe. Okay, but let's say there are no, it's an abstract situation, it was a chaotic situation, there are no books, there are no accounting of it, and now it's just a well understood history that I also acknowledge and you also acknowledge, but it's not really clear how much, and it's not really clear what. But the point is, my grandfather have done you wrong, so do I owe you something? Is it a just thing, for me to give something to you out of that history? Is it something that is just, or is it unjust, guys? Okay, like for example, let's take it piece per piece. Okay, when it comes to natural resources, what kind of natural resources are we talking about? If we are talking about mining or gold, it is something that is, yes, it is something that is kind of extend beyond human lives. But if we are talking about crops, and we are talking about the fertility of the land, like if you took away crops, the crops over few months would have already been rot out. But it's not about the crops, it's about the wealth and the opportunity cost. Okay, I'm not talking about that, I'm just talking about the crops. Now, you wouldn't compensate the corpse that have rotted or that have become excrements back. You wouldn't give that back. And plus, um, your land, like for example the land that you're living on, have already been recovered, have the rain have poured down, and it had become fertile again. So can we say that it is not generational, right? In that case, oh, it's the opportunity cost, it's the economic opportunity cost that is lost right now. Um but then the question is, who actually, yeah, you know what, actually it makes me think again. Why why is it that, is it just actually for the grandchildren to mend that opportunity? This, because it's an economic, yeah, actually it's an economic opportunity. Therefore, if you mend that economic opportunity, would things be better? So let's take a look at um, um, the meaning of money first. Okay, so money is proof that, that's the main meaning of money, is proof that one has paid and has work and hasn't been paid, right? So the next guy, when he bring money to the next store or the next guy, this next guy will perform service as compensation for what he had done to another person, which at the end of the turn, this money could be returned to the bond creator, and then the cycle would be completed. So that is the meaning of money, the main meaning of money. It could mean other things. Now let's talk about the other things. When you give donation or when you give it to your child, it it doesn't mean like that anymore. But why can you give money to your child? Why can you give donation? Because the main meaning of money still exists. So you should be careful in using money not in its main meaning, because if you overuse that, the meaning of money would lose its value, would lose its meaning, and you don't want that. You cannot use it for anything else anymore. Okay, so now that you have that, if you give money to people who experience injustice, that people probably going to use it to buy food because they don't have basic necessities, and the one who's going to receive the benefit of economic benefit is also everyone else. It's justice. Why? Because the supplier of basic necessities would become richer. Like, if you produce food for me, I want you to be rich because my food potentially will be more nutritious that way, because you would have more freedom for education. Maybe you would have more freedom to scale up or make things cheaper. You would have the freedom to make things more nutritious, more delicious. You want yeah, it's a nice thing. Like, that's the manifestation of reparation. That's when you give money to the poor, that poor use it for basic necessities. But also you got to be careful not to erode this main meaning of money, because if you give too much like that, like what happened in Sri Lanka, for example, I would imagine that so many suppliers got too much money, it doesn't mean anything for them. So prices would go up, skyrocketed, or maybe there would be too many competition for the supplier in the next season. It would erode. It would actually erode the market for the supplier, the initial supplier, which probably is temporary because it comes from donation. Donation is not a business. It is not sustainable. It's not making profit. So eventually, when everyone crash, the original suppliers also is going to crash. So that is okay. You got to be careful about that. Not Don't go about it too quickly. And then when it comes to justice, okay, uh, is it something that is mandatory to give these people, like these poor people, money? Why is it not? So I think that's the question. That's the answer that could be used for reparation here. Why is it not an obligation for you to take care of the poor? Right? Why, let's say, okay, you live in the Philippines, you live in Indonesia, why is there no obligation for you to take care of people in Africa, in Sudan, in a war-torn country? Okay. I think it's because of that as well. So uh when you make donation an obligation, it's no longer a donation, it's a debt. And is it just, when it comes to reparation, is it just that it is a debt? By who? Oh, by the country, or by the institution? um by the abstraction, by the race. So that means the people who didn't participate in colonialism but is a part of that country would bear the cost as well. Oh, it's a small price to pay. So what is the profit? What would be the profit? The true justice. Really? So So this is a question that is also something that I don't like it, like, because maybe one time it's very political, right? Because if it happens to you, the benefit happens to you, it's nice. But when the benefits is to be performed by you for other people, you wouldn't like it. Like, imagine your grandson have to put up with something like this, guys. Do you want that? Like, is it something that is just? Let's say, for example, I'm Chinese, and a lot of people, like the Nazi of each country, would say, oh, the Chinese are richer than everybody else, and the Chinese would be being pointed out all of their mistakes. Tu, 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 tu. This is what all of the Chinese have done. And then after that, my grandson is going to do, you have to pay reparation. Let's say, for example, to any country that had become less rich, for example, and they would go, you have to pay reparation because your ass is Chinese. So that is, why is it that not a done deal? Like, why is it for some people it is a done deal? Like, why can't you see that this is a problem? And why do you so entitled? Why do you feel like it is so entitled? It's something that is black and white. It is like, again and again, and another another factor when it comes to reparation would be, are th- is it true that the loss of economic benefit is actually something that you suffer? Because if you want to get reparation from an aggregation, you would also give it to an aggregation. So this aggregation of people might not be the most, might not consist, okay, might consist the one who were victimized, but then may not be the one who suffers the most from it. Okay, so if you give an aggregation, some people gonna receive less than their opportune loss of opportunity, of economic opportunity. Some people would receive more, and the people who receive less is going to is going to demand, is going to still demand more in the future. And then what happened is, the one who received more is going to be happy about it, and you're gonna go, yo, let's do that again. And then it's never enough. It's never a done deal. How much would the valuation be? What would be the inflation? What would be the, oh man? And it's just a cycle of, I think this could work though. This could work if you have a documentation, if you have a clear documentation, and if you have a clear data about who are the people that are involved and what are the things that they have done. So definitely, if you have that, a reparation would be just. But if you want to go about in an abstraction, this is what I'm trying to tackle here. In terms of abstraction, what would be the cost and what would be the benefit? And should you make it a law? Maybe if an NGO, for example, want to do something like this, they could do it. Actually, they could probably do it, and it would be kind of, you know feel good for everybody. It seems like it's true justice. But also, if they do that and then they got the wrong people, they're gonna fuel up this oppressive, corruptive politician who lies about who they are, who's gonna lie about who they are, and who's gonna develop this logic that is not economically sensible, but just artificially cater for the sake of the donation. And it's harmless. It's just like harmless people trying to get more money. But but you don't know what's happening inside, guys. You don't know what's happening in everyday's life. These people, this parasitic mindset, and when they are being admitted to civil service, oh my god, these people are such huge pain. These people are such a huge pain, and they kind of teach other people or their colleges as well to have this kind of unsensible mindset, non-profitable mindset, non-entrepreneurial mindset, that would even create a policy that is against small businesses or maybe businesses in general. It's crazy, guys. I don't know, dude. Maybe if you're an NGO, I would hate it for a reparation like that to become law. If you create more NGO and this NGO would employ auditors with honesty, right? I think it's I think it's all right. And I think it's like you just don't scale it up too much, okay? Just sprinkle it here and there, you know what I mean? Be strategic about it. Don't become an imperative part of the economy, this NGO. No, no, don't be, because you're not a business, right? You just go here and there, and then get there, pop, 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 pop. Don't be an integral part of the business because you're not for profit. Unless you want to be for profit, then you produce some good and services. I think, yeah, if that is the target, eventually that's what you would become. You probably want to teach entrepreneurs in these marginalized countries to become entrepreneurs, and then after that they would contribute some of their income to you when they could afford it. I think that's a good thing. That's a good business. But otherwise, you cannot be a don't I disagree in terms of NGOs want to be an integral part of the economy. No. uh, Unless we're talking about people who are in dire need, dire situation, yeah, I absolutely give them hope. They need hope. Um, yeah. Okay. So that's a point that I'm thinking today through justice. And then another thing that I think is about sex, maybe. I think I rationalized that when you had sex, you kind of attach a new limb. Like having a new person with you physically is like attaching a new limb to your body. But then if you, by the way, it's not from my personal experience, okay? It's just logic. Uh, so I could be wrong about this. But then when you break up, or it is just a one night stand, there are a lot of different people involved. Maybe today different guy, tomorrow different girl, next day different guy, next day different girl. You would like doing this, attaching new limb, and then cut it again, attaching new limb, cut it again, attaching new limb, cut it again. I think it could, scientists or psychologists could look at it and maybe um, do some research about it, because I think that the things like that, if it's really profound like that, the process of sex is really profound, you would you would have a recoil. What is this recoil? I suspected that it's depression, because the experience of losing an asset, let's say, is something that could contribute to the depression. So if it happens to you all the time, okay, attach, reattach, attach, reattach, your logic might say it's nothing, but your subconscious might, have a reaction that would not logical, would not be logical. So that thing also something that I'm thinking about and I'm worrying about. For some people, that if they kept on doing that, I gotta, you know, I gotta say something about it. And then, um, because I see people, I I live, I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I'm sorry. What else am I thinking about? Now I'm thinking about chocolate covered strawberries, guys. Okay, unrelated to the people. I'm not saying like if I have bought a chocolate covered strawberries from you, I think you are a promiscuous person. No, no, not you. I wasn't thinking about you at all. Yeah, I'm thinking about chocolate covered strawberries, and I'm thinking, you know what? Dark chocolate covered strawberries might be okay for keto because I'm in keto diet. And if you want to look at my playlist, there's a keto knowledge there. Highly recommended for you guys. If you haven't tried keto and haven't experienced your enzyme, your body chemicals be adapted to keto adaptation, talk to your nutritionist or talk to your general practitioners. What's the safe way for you in person to do keto? And then try to do it. It's an adventure, it's an experience that doesn't require you to buy train ticket or plane ticket. All you got to do is some discipline and you would experience an adventure. Keto is an adventure. For some people, keto is a lifestyle. For me, keto is a lifestyle. It's a seasonal lifestyle, which is also a lifestyle, I think. For some people, it's all day every day, all throughout the year. For some people, it's an adventure because it's definitely is a different dimension that you open up with being able to be keto adapted. So maybe you would really, really like it. Try it, guys. But be careful, of course. What else? It's pretty hard when you have a cough and you do keto because a lot of these cough medicines have sugar in it. So usually on keto, you're not craving food so much, but because of the different spikes of insulin or different spikes of, sorry, not insulin, blood sugar, you would experience hunger, some hunger. So I kind of want a chocolate covered strawberry now. What else? Yeah, thank you, Kason, thank you, Nekomiya Hinata, for your membership. Um, like Kason now doing his old stuff when she was Coco in Hololive. She's kind of doing it now, but more like Japanese. What's trending in Japanese? So check it out. Check out Kason VTubers videos. I also watch Metatron. Metatron make very interesting reaction for pasta because he's Italian, and also for Egyptologists and also survivalists. These are the three videos that I've watched. Uh, Recently I have followed him, subscribed to him for a long time. He's kind of a historian debunkers, and also he's a historian, I believe. And also he likes medieval apparels. uh, he reviews medieval armor and swords and stuff. So if you like that, if you like to play medieval games or watch medieval anime, for example, you would have an extra dimension when you watch his videos. Metatron, that's what I've been watching. Also, keto content, Dr. Canberry, thank you very much. My keto hero, Dr. Eric Berg, although the doctor here is from his chiropractic practice, not from MD or medical doctor. Thomas DeLauer, Dr. Jensen Fung, Dr. Mindy Pels, Dr. Oh my God, Another woman that I just escapes my mind. Very good on insulin explanation. Dr. Boss. Dr. Boss. Uh, yeah, but there are new like new young content creator, a new doctor also talking about there's a new research in Russia that keto could help cure cancer. Yes, seriously, guys. And then it's in the journal article, so that is a good news. Search it up, look it up. um, and then what doctor, I think I have it in my playlist as well. And also now keto prob or certain keto, what was it like, there's this new young doctor who talks about keto in terms of Alzheimer, maybe, or dementia. I forgot. Maybe I'm convoluted. Maybe I got mixed up between two different videos. So I don't. So that's about it for keto. What else that I'm thinking about? Oh, you should check out my gospel playlist as well, because there's a very good sermon. If you're a Christian, you might want to check out, if you knew about Protestantism, if you knew about Catholicism, Orthodox, and if you like to watch sermons from these different perspectives, I also recommend you, there's another movement called the Pentecostal movement, which is initially which is the initially the Pentecost movement, but then it branches out into charismatic movement. If you guys know about it, a lot of mega churches are charismatic. So this is the grandfather or the father or the predecessor of that mega churches, and you might find a perspective on what's before that, so that's the Pentecostal movement. Check it out. And the sermon of this Pentecostal pastor is so powerful, guys. So watch that as well. It's in my gospel playlist. What else do I got? Mm, what is it that I want to remember? Oh my god, I have to throw away the mucus now. Please bear with me for a second. Okay, so true justice. If we could if we could move forward for true justice, if we just take small steps to improve justice in our community. It's like physics. When you Physics is universal. It's all over the world. The law that applies over here also applies over there. Isn't that miraculous, guys? Isn't that amazing? That the same law that applies over here also applies over there. And it scales throughout time for the whole universe. Imagine that, so powerful. Um Physics, chemistry, the laws of nature. But true justice is also like that, guys. True justice, we can feel about it. We might have different opinion about it. We might impacted by it differently. But if you improve on it, it's going to be a thing that is going to permeate throughout the dimensions, I believe. So, what is justice? I define justice like this. Like um, everyone gets whatever they wanted, gets whatever they needed, gets everything that they didn't expect they would want and need also. So I add another more things right there. All throughout time, for all people, whether they would haven't been born or would be resurrected in the future. So people who have already died, they would get everything what that they want. So that is true justice. And because we are not there yet, we haven't been in that system yet, a progress towards there is what we commonly call justice as well. Um, so I mean, like everyone gets whatever they want. It seems like it's so communistic and it's not realistic. Yeah, I mean, let's say an illustration is like this. So if you get everything that you want in a year, so every you get the government make money, like just print money for everybody, and everybody can buy everything. But then next year, right? Next year, would would everybody still get everything, or some people are going to use it for destructive thing or dangerous things, okay, and which destroyed the chances for other people to improve, or it would improve for a short period of time, maybe 2 years, 3 years, but then after that all of this accumulation of wealth is going to be used to destroy all of this asset, and everybody is going to fall into depression. So that is not justice, right? And maybe people have tried it in multiple ways. Mainly the one that is so blatant is communism, the one that have tried that before. But you see that it ended up with dictatorship, right? Because dictators, these politicians, guys, are so dangerous. They are creepy. They are the creepy things of this world, and they are potentially, they are all potential um, communist leaders. They are all potential communist leaders. So, ugh, maybe including myself, I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not gonna deny that one day I am so enamored or drunk with people's support if that's being given to me and I wouldn't be able to handle it. Maybe, yeah. So I have to train myself. I have to scrutinize myself all the time. Um, so that is true justice. So really, the most important thing for us to be able to make things better is honesty. Uh, the most important thing for true justice is our honesty, because how what other creatures would go for true justice other than human beings? We haven't found it. We can find dogs and cats defending kids. There are videos of that on the internet. That is justice. Definitely, they have a good sense of justice. But would they contemplate as far as us in terms of trying to aim for true justice all the time? Maybe dogs already knew about that. I don't know about that. Dogs are so nice. Maybe dogs have figured it out, guys. I don't know. Maybe cats also have figured it out because dogs have no sense of property. So dogs mix with cats. Oh, Frankenstein's of dogs and cats. Maybe have the answer to true justice. Oh no, don't do that. Yeah, so that's the idea. So that's what we are investing in when we say we invest in humanity. We are investing in the people that is going to go for true justice. I'm not saying that if you are not going for it, you are not human. Please bear with me. And that you don't deserve resources. I'm just saying, if we say we are investing in humanity, that's what we are talking about. Okay, so helping out the people who suffered with injustice, and be careful about it. Trying to do justice as well, because these suffering people might might have done some stuff, be connected to shady people, and might be willing to perform unjust revenge. So also be careful with that. Um, and I do believe that scrutiny invites God, guys. Scrutiny would invite God. So it is not. I think that's it. Scrutiny invites God. When you do your taxes, when you do your personal cash balances, and things doesn't add up, and you are trying to find out, where does my money went off, where do we, when did I lose the money, when did I spend it, and why haven't I recorded it, or something like that. Where's the money? Or what are other things that I could put in my tax return that is not a lie, of course. That is scrutiny. You're scrutinizing yourself. And I think you invite God into your life the moment you are doing that, because God is the spirit of truth. That is the spirit that maintains the order of the truth. That's why history is fixed, history is permanent, and we can trace back, we all could trace back to the same truth in the past. That mechanism, that order, the one that maintains it, ultimately, uh, is God. And like everything that is chaos, that is not in order, the primordial chaos, that is outside of the truth. That is, the truth is a property. So if you witness like psychedelic, at the station, or psychedelic, uh, sharing of information of the experience, you would understand like some of these experiences are happening outside of the truth. So it's in a primordial chaos, so that's why it feels so real, but also something that sometimes people cannot escape. It could be traumatic, or it could be extremely blissful. So it could be tomorrow, it could be yesterday, it could be up but also down at the same time, but also it is not now, it is tomorrow, while it's 3 days ago, but you suffered greatly, uh 2 weeks ago, which is the next day. You know what I mean? So the truth is like, okay, the next day is called tomorrow, the day after that is 2 days ahead, and then a week is 7 days, and then within a month the earth would be, the moon would have a full rotation. what am I what am I saying? Within a year, the Earth would have a full rotation around the sun, and it's divided into 12 monthly cycle, where the moon affects the tides, and we can predict when would the uh, weather when would the rain stops, when would the rain starts, with the weather channel. That is the truth, that is the world of the truth. So imagine the the suffering of the people who are not burned, or who have not yet born, my bad. So imagine that, like, any person you could imagine, any kind of person you mix up, you play what kind of games that created the character, that character is actually existing right now in the primordial chaos. Okay, the character that we haven't even thought about exists in primordial chaos. Imagine the suffering of that person in that primordial chaos. Or if they're having a great blissful experience, that's okay. But when they suffer and they could not escape, who else could save them but uh, but the process of giving birth? Now we can give birth to people by using our cells that is being genetically modified, or being suggested it at the molecular level to become a stem cell again, and then to become an egg and a sperm, and then you can make a kid of your own, which probably don't do that. Okay, uh, maybe they would have a genetic disease. But if you have that technology and you have predicted that beforehand, you could fix that. So you could actually have a little you again, this young you that is fully you again. There is a technology for that already. You can look it up, you can search it up. Oh, it's one hour already. You can search it up, that there is a technology that could make your cell become an egg and a sperm, and then obviously the sperm and an egg could be being brought together, and you would have a little you. uh, you hopefully it would the person would not have a genetic disease, but that person is being called from. But if it's me, I'm already here though. Okay. Okay, so this is a thought process. Am all of these other versions of me, do they suffer in primordial chaos? Are they suffering? So with me being here, have all of them been safe? Huh? Or are all of them are still suffering? Yeah, I mean, of course, but is it enough that I it's just me here, or should I, create more of me to save myself from the primordial chaos? Hmm. Maybe that's the next step, guys. But we got to deal with justice first, right? Because the suffering that is happening in the truth is continuous, and that is probably worse. That's probably worse. And before I forgot about it, what is hell? There are a lot of interpretation of hell, but maybe a thing that could be considered. I am not so sure about this, but when you have an eternal life, right? Um, and you keep on rendering the past, right? And in order to improve on it, right? You create a world where you uh, using your computer, you would pick up history, and then you would blast it out, project it into reality, and then starting from a point, you would improve on that because you're already living in heaven, right? You have fixed things, you have figured things out. The next thing would be to improve upon your own history. Maybe you make all of the people in your past, lives better. But but if that technology arrived, that would be hell for people who cannot be fixed. So every single time, maybe they would not remember, but their matrix or their soul would keep on experiencing that purge, where when they are not really comfortable with life, they hate life. They want to, because they've performed evil. Like in the future, when you have figured things out and when you have a technology to make things better, right? A better future, that means things are better. So when things are better, people who kept on losing assets, who wants to maybe not not continue anymore, maybe their life could be made better and eventually they would want to continue anymore. I don't talk about these people who are probably should be in a mental hospital. Guys, don't stigmatize mental hospital with something that is disgusting or repulsive, guys. These hospitals are a blessing. Okay, so yeah, maybe their life would be better, but the ones who are so who attached with murder, or attached with stealing. Maybe murder is something that could be a sport potentially in the far new world, but I'm being very speculative. But so attached with lying, I think that is so intolerable. So if your soul is so about lying, oh, it's going to be hell, because it keeps on going on. But also it says it's burning sulfur. So the burning sulfur means it's blackened. So that means it is being quarantined and not being rendered again, but it kept on existing with every single step of reality that is going on. It is made on the path of history. right? So your soul exists in history, and you kept on continuing on in this darkness, in this side where it is not being, be everything continues on, means you are continuing on, but you are dormant. You are just dormant like that, because people don't want to bring you, because you also don't want to experience things further, because you don't want to pay. You would be asked to pay and whatever. You don't want, and people would say, oh, just keep it black, keep it. But it's burning, guys. It's continuing on, it's burning. I don't know what kind of, would you suffer? The Bible said you would suffer. But I think, the fact that you are black like that, you wouldn't, maybe the suffering is not accumulating. Wouldn't be suffering, right? uh Maybe it's accumulating but then erased, and then, logically speaking, it is like that, because when you render an event, and then you quarantine out some aspect of it, you still are going to logically render the existence, right? But then even though you throw it away in a bin again, it is still and experiencing, but you would forget about it, but still experiencing. So, but if you understand, you understand. Don't understand, you don't understand. So let me continue, okay? At the end of the day, your matrix, in terms of the truth, because the whole truth continues on, what accumulates in your matrix are that. Pa, 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 pa. Isn't that something? Isn't that like torture? Isn't that like burning sulfur, guys? Pa, 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 pa. Always like that, but stay in place like that. Not no excitement, no adventure, no interaction, no love. Ugh. Oh. What else, guys? What else should I remember? I should remember to improve on my language learning. I should improve on my drawing. I should improve in video making. I should improve in friendship. And I don't know why my YouTube just don't want to post replies that is made to my comment, because I remember the time when YouTube posted notifications for comments that are made, uh, uh, the comments at the section where I also made a comment on. So when I commented on a video, when there's a reply to my comment, or the reply to the comment that I'm replying to, there's a notification of that. Did I turn that off? I couldn't find it. So I already asked YouTube help, but there are no answer. So I just cannot make up a new community in YouTube. I want to make a community in YouTube because I have spent a lot of time a lot of time in here, but I cannot. I'm just alone in this world. No one is watching my video. But I'm making a diary, so I guess my friend is me in the future. That's all right too. That's fine. Um, I don't know, guys. I don't know what to say. What else to say? I could talk about more stuff, but after 1 hour, is it really going to matter as much? Um, okay. Thank you very much, you guys. Goodbye.